So I always get the question, why is the sales process so important? Why is it so critical to have in your business? And here's why. If you want a sales team to operate independently of you and consistently drive revenue, you must have a structured sales process in place. Because otherwise you're asking a salesperson to do sales based on how they do it, not on how it's supposed to be done or how you want them to do it. So a process isn't just a checklist of things that they need to do. It's a proven system that you've already gone through, that you know already works, to guide the prospect from point A to point B, to guide, the prospect from when you first meet that person to when you close the deal. That's what the sales process is. What to say, questions to ask, how to do the site measurements, to have them come in person or just send the bid over. It's exact things for each salesperson to do to get you from point A to point B, right? And here's why, a couple of reasons why it's a non-negotiable. So number one, predictability and sustainability. Without the sales process, your sales are just inconsistent. You're asking your salespeople to play darts with a blindfold on. That's what you're doing, because you're giving them no direction or no expectation on what to do. You're telling them just to sell. What does that mean? So, 1 month you could be up, 1 month you could be down. But with a clear sales process, you can create a repeatable system that brings in leads and closes deals more consistently. Okay? Number two, easier to train and scale. Every salesperson, kind of like I was saying, does things their own way, right? So how do you train new hires right now? You got to ask yourself that question. How do you train your salespeople right now, especially if you don't have a process? What does that even look like? I'm sure there's certain things you want them to do and train on, but there's no written out process on how to do that. So a written out process is detail by detail, from when you introduce yourself, what to say, to when you close the deal, on what to say and how to get the deal closed. That is the sales process. So again, I'm going to ask, how do you train new hires right now? How do you scale? A process is given to your team as a roadmap, making the onboarding easier and ensuring that everybody is following the best way to actually do things. Not their way, but the best way. Because again, every person has their own way of doing things, their own beliefs, their own mindsets. But if you don't train them on the way you want them to do it, they're just going to do it their way, which isn't going to work for you. All right. Number three, higher close rates. So a structured process, allows you to refine and optimize each step, right? So let's say you got a 5-step process. If you're struggling on step 3, that's your pain point. You can circle that and figure out, what are we doing wrong and how can we fix that? So instead of just relying on luck, again, playing darts with a blindfold on, trying to hit a bullseye, you can control the outcome. Then it becomes a numbers game. Once you get the system and the process down, it starts to become a numbers game. So again, if one step is underperforming, all you have to do is tweak that one step. And that is how you get a 30% or higher close rate consistently. So let's draw this out. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say you're in the process, right? You're great at connecting, check off the dot. You're great at fact finding. You're great at doing all these questions, right? You're great at going to the site visit. You're great at bringing them in and presenting and doing all these things. But you get to this stage, the very last one, and you just can't close. Like, you don't know why, but like your close rate is like 5%. And you get everybody through this line, and then you get to this stage right here, and they're like, no. You get no's, right? So this is showing you need to work on the close, right? So this is where your sales manager or you as the owner can kind of pinpoint this step and be like, what questions do we need to ask? Are we forcing them to feel uncomfortable? Like, what are we doing in this step to cause confusion? Then we got number 4. It eliminates the owner's dependence in the company. And that's the whole goal here, guys. I want you as the business owner to be working on the company and not inside of it. So if you're the only person who knows how to sell guess what? You're stuck in that role forever. You're stuck doing sales forever because you're the only person that knows how to do it. And I get it. You got a lot up here, but you got to write it down, man. You got to write it down and create a process so that you can finally train others. It's not easy work. This is the hardest part about it, is taking the knowledge in your head and getting it on paper to share and train others. But a defined sales process lets you build that team that you feel like you can't build right now. It allows you to build the team to close deals without you, and that is going to free you to work on the business instead of in it again. And maybe that's going to free you to not work 60-hour weeks. And that's going to free you to do whatever it is that you need to do with your family, right? So bottom line is, if you don't have a process, you're gambling. You're straight up gambling. A sales process takes the guesswork out of selling and it turns it into a scalable, repeatable system. And that's exactly what you need to grow your business. So if you want to grow your revenue and build a team that closes without you, start taking this serious, guys. Start locking in your processes. I know it's not easy. Okay, but it is so worth it. And for most of you guys who are a lot of hands-on and don't like doing the computer work and the office work, you got a lot of knowledge in your head. Have somebody help you. Hire somebody. Have one of your teammates help you write all this stuff down. But you need to get this down on paper. You need to create a process, and you need to start training these people to know what you know. Because what happens, I'm going to be a realist right now. What happens if you're walking down the street, you get hit by a bus tomorrow? What happens to your company? If nobody knows the stuff going on in your head, your company's done for. So you have to duplicate yourself. That's the biggest part with processes. You have to duplicate yourself and start training your people and taking this serious. I know it's not fun, but it's a necessity. So there you go. That is why you must create a sales process in your business. So let's move on into our sales process. I'm going to help you guys out. Do this, right? I'm going to give you a basic framework, and then I'm going to deep dive into each step of the sales process that I created for you. Feel free to change it to your business, but it's a pretty suited and worked out process that I think a lot of you guys are going to find valuable. So let's jump right into it and start going over that.